As seeds of the Master Creator, I believe we have the innate ability to create the world we like to see for ourselves. The creative realm is a space where we deconstruct our minds and challenge our thoughts to transcending conversations. My name is Moses, and I urge you to join me on this journey. Welcome to the Creative Realm Conversation Series. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Realm Conversation Series. I am glad that you guys are here. If you're a new listener, welcome. Thanks for joining in. This episode, we have our little wine here. Cheers to my guest. It's been a long day. So, if you are out there, get you a little something on the side as we dissect the nuance of this topic, because there's some trauma here, so we need to unwind.
Necessary steps.
Come on. So today we are in conversation about bullying, trauma, and healing. I have some experience with this, and to help me give a deeper context to this conversation, I have my cousin here. His name is Daniel Sipal. He is a young man out here doing his thing, handling business here and there. So thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. This is about to be a key, because this is my brother. So it's about to be one of those fun-free episodes, but we'll definitely get into, some context and all. So you might be asking why are we talking about bullying? Why do I want to have a conversation about bullying? Specifically bullying in secondary school in Nigeria, or do I want to say in Africa just in general? I do think that it's a problem. I think that there is a way that we allow ourselves to think that some things are normal, or the way that we interact or the way that we live life is just normal, but we don't think about the unintended consequences and the trauma that it leaves on people, especially young people. When you think about it, when you are raised in Nigeria and you go to secondary school, boarding house, for the most part, a lot of us go to boarding school at a very tender age. Like, we're very young. And to think about it, these are the formative years of your life as a kid. And I guess I should, do like a warning, like, you might be triggered from this conversation for someone who had like a terrible experience in secondary school, for someone who has gone through like bullying. So just trigger warning, but hopefully we are able to have some deep conversation, some nuanced conversation, and also, hopefully have some healing as well. Hopefully. Because we don't really talk about the level of trauma that a lot of us go through in secondary school. And when I say trauma, I mean from physical to mental. I mean from abuse, meaning sexual abuse as well, to physical beatings, abuse, and just the level of hurt that people go through at such a tender age. And these are a lot of our formative years that we leave our parents' house. This is a time in our lives where and as I've grown up, I don't know how much of a fan I am of secondary school anymore. Honestly, I don't, because I don't think it's wise for a child to be that away from their parents at that young age for so long. We don't see our parents only on secondary school, only in like visiting days. If that's if your parents can even make it. Sometimes they don't make it to visiting day, and then holidays are short. And then boom, you're back to school again. And a lot of people, especially in Nigerian homes, we don't grow up in homes where we're having dialogue with our parents.
Very true.
A lot of times, your parents are not aware of what's happening in your life. They don't know the traumas that you're dealing with, the hurts that you're dealing with, your struggles. We don't come home and we have the liberty to tell our parents, yo, this is what's happening to me. Yeah. And I wonder where, now when we talk about bullying specifically, I wonder where that mentality came from for us as Africans. I'm the kind of person who I always like to go back to who we were pre-colonial Africa, because I feel like it helps us to understand who we are now and how we think and navigate things. I don't know if this idea of bullying is from like we learnt it from our slave masters. The idea of beating people to correct them or choking them up or really bringing so much level of physical harm that we can't even fathom. It's like we act like animals. And then, no, honestly, it's like we act like animals or we treat people like animals. And then we pass it on from generation to generation. Your brother did this to me, I'm going to do it to you.
Exactly.
Your sister did this to me, I'm going to do it to you. Oh, me, they were not nice to me. Oh, why will I be nice to you? Do you understand? So there's all that experiences that we go through.
Very true.
Now, for me, my experience with bullying on a personal level, when I listen to other people, basically I didn't go through bullying. When I listen to other people talk about their stories with bullying, especially in secondary school or boarding house, it's like I didn't go through any of that. And I think I can attribute it to the fact that I went to secondary school and my set were the first set to graduate.
Okay,
so we never had any
that
seniors.
helps
We're the pioneers of my school. So I never had to deal with seniors in that level. Did I deal with bullying from my classmates here and there? A little bit, but not to the point of anyone trying to cause me physical harm or stuff like that. So it was nothing.
Lucky.
Yeah. I never dealt with that. And then in primary school, I never dealt with bullying like that too. So there's that part. I think I'll also want to touch on maybe how social class can affect the way people go through bullying. That just came to my head, that maybe there's a thing about social class that, and we are such a community where class plays a role in Nigeria and the way people treat you and see you. So to you now, my bro, my first question for you is, what was your experience with bullying in secondary school? Right now, we could drink.
That was a very broad question because to be very honest, I had like
The bullying
different
choke.
stages
Oh,
of
yeah, I know.
bullying. Because
Which one was the most traumatic one?
to be very honest, all they were very traumatic.
Wow.
Because bullying started for me in just one. Yeah. And the first time I spoke about it, I got in more trouble.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was just freshly coming into school. I think like 3 weeks, 4 weeks in school, and all my provisions were taken. What happens is back then they just come into your room. They're older than you. They're your seniors. So they and it was weird. There's this particular guy that would enter my room and he'd be like, "I smell fish. I smell fish." And he will just point at your box and you have sardine inside your box. Now, he's not a psychic. He'll be like saying no one before time.
Yeah.
When you were in your class reading, he came to check everybody's box in the room. So he knows who has what. Do you understand?
That's
so when he's
crazy.
coming with his certainty. And if
That's
you
a
do you
psychopath.
have sardine? And you say no.
Yeah.
It's a problem. You don't have sardine. Okay, open your box. You now see 6 sardine. You now carry all. You know, it's not your own. No. You say
Not
you
your
know
own,
half.
Shabi. That's
You say
crazy.
you know half. You just take it out and go. Now, those people, bully ends for them in junior secondary. Mine went all the way to SS2.
Really?
Yeah. I was named the prefect and I was still being messed up. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, it was stupid. I can remember there was a time I was in SS2 here. I was already named because in school they give helpers first before they give prefectship. So in your SS2 you be a helper.
They help her
Then
before
at
they
the
now
end,
give you
they
a
now
head
give you the
prefect,
prefect.
yeah.
Exactly. So I was a helper here. Then this Sunday, this SS3 boy gave me his egg. Now let's be very mindful. This is 2000 and what? Can't really remember. Probably 2014, 2013. Egg was not up to 10 naira. I'm very sure. This guy gave me his board egg that I should hold it. After Sunday service, he'll collect it. Now I was an instrumentalist in school. So Sunday service, I was either with the what do you call it, amplifier, making sure the sound is right, or I'm playing drums, or I'm doing something. I'm just busy. So I dropped the egg on the amplifier to like play drum for Sunday service, and his mates just came and carried and cracked it and just started eating. Before I could turn, I was like, "Yo, is this guy's egg?" He was like, "I'm telling him that I took it, no wala." Now I know you and this guy are friends. So I was like, "No problem, I'll tell you."
Yeah.
After Sunday service, guy came, "Where's my egg?" I was like, "Your guy ate it too." He's like, "Eh?" He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll go and lie down in my mama wait for me." I was like, "He's your guy now. Like, there's nothing I could tell him. Like, this guy came to me as a junior and told me I should not worry. He talk to you about it." I went to lie down. From lying down, he came. No, he came with a mop stick.
Wow.
The problem now wasn't beating me. The problem was where you were beating me. On my joints.
Wow.
He did not beat me on my body. On my joints. My ankle, my wrist, my waist, my neck, my shoulder.
Oh my God.
As far as in here, come.
Wow.
You understand? Bone to bone.
But what
crazy.
level of wickedness is
That's
this
the
for
thing.
the love
when,
of
when,
God?
when you give a young child less than 16 so
power.
much power, do you understand? Like, you are a young child as I am.
Let's
Children
break-
leading children,
let's
blind
break
leading
that
the
sh-
blind.
let's break that
like,
shit
it's
down.
really crazy.
Let's break
Like,
that shit down.
how old were we back then? You will tell you are 14 years old. I'm 12, and you beat me because I know wash your clothes.
But where are the kids learning it from? Because it's learned behavior. Kids don't grow up to just be wicked.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Kids just don't grow up to just be beating other kids. It's learned behavior. I think a lot of bullies come from either broken homes. I think they come from homes where their parent is beating the other parent,
true.
and they deal with a lot of violence, and they come and they are inflicting these traumas and violence on other kids.
Yeah, but to be very honest, I'm not sure we can really pinpoint where the source is. Because this thing is a passed down generation.
Yeah,
thing. Like, it has been happening for years and years and years. Now you find out that even somebody that doesn't have abusive parents at home is a bully. Why? Because he was brought into school as an innocent person. He was bullied, or maybe he was even liked, but saw the system, how things work.
So
and that's how it works.
That's how that's what I need to be like.
Yeah, to be very honest, back then, if you were a bully, you had swag. That's the truth. The biggest bullies were the swaggiest boys in school. They're the ones that the girls really wanted to talk to. Everybody was scared of. Like, it brought about respect.
Yeah.
So you can't really blame them. Giving kids the opportunity.
That's yeah.
It's crazy.
There's a lot there that you just unpacked about. It's a system. So it's like, do as I follow. You see monkey do, you man you do.
Exactly.
Like, because everybody is doing it, you think it's cool. I'm going to do it too. The boys in my class are bullying the boys that are younger. I have to join. It's like you beat them or you join them type vibe. So you just join the gang and everybody's just sheep doing the same fucking thing.
Very true.
But that's just so sad, bro. And the level of for a child to know to hit you on your joints with a mop. I don't know if I can fathom thinking that deep of evil, because these are the parts of your body that literally help you move,
function, like
help you function to move as a person. But this is where your seniors are targeting to beat you with a mop. Just like crazy. That's crazy to me.
Really crazy.
And that's why I think it's important for us to have this conversation, because we need to actually pinpoint what the fuck is going on in secondary schools in Nigeria. I feel like we are all adults who have experienced so much trauma, and we're just moving around the world without thinking, without dealing with it, without talking about it, without deconstructing why. So how did that experience affect you?
Well, now this is where I start to contradict myself.
Okay.
In as much as this was a very horrible experience, or horrific experience, if I may put it, it shaped me. Can't lie. Like, the person I am today is because of the shit I've seen. That's the truth. Like,
That's fair.
That's the truth.
Fair. That's
like,
fair. No,
you are my cousin. Yeah, you know me. Yeah. I was a mama's boy before I went to secondary school.
Yeah, true.
If you had left me, I would have been a footballer.
True that.
Do you get? Like, that's the truth. I would have been smart. But when you know that you have to act right, because the slightest misstep will get you into the biggest trouble. Now, my secondary school journey started when, okay, I told you about taking sardines and all of that. Now, I had this senior in my room. He was in SS2. How they did it back then was 4 bunks in a room. You have all classes, SS3 to just 1. So there was one SS2 boy and one SS3 boy. Then they shared it among the rest. I was like the third just one boy in my room. So he collected my bed sheet, collected my wristwatch, gave it to his girlfriend. And I just had like a little accident before I got to secondary school. Hot water burnt me. So I had like a little scar on my leg. And due to the fact that he was regularly flogging me, it was changing color. It was becoming messed up.
Oh my God.
So when I got home, being the only child, my mom was like, she notices every single thing. She's like, what happened? And me, I knew you're not supposed to snitch.
Wow.
But this is my first term. I just came back from first term. My mom is pressuring me so hard to tell her why my body is changing color, and she knows it's not dirt. And I finally open up. My mom gets really angry, but she doesn't really show me. Now, fast forward resumption day, we get to school. My mom just asks me, "Where's the boy?" And I just pointed at him. My mom went to his mother's face. It wasn't even to the boy, to his mother. She was shouting, screaming, like she was calling this woman out. How will your son do this? Blah, 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 blah. In fact, where is his wristwatch and his bed sheet? It's like, I gave my girlfriend, I go and collect it from your girlfriend and bring it now. I was happy.
Ciao.
But that was the beginning of my suffer. Bro, as my mother went home,
wow,
and they locked the doors, this guy, okay, we are all together now. That's when I knew that I should have done that, bro. My GS1, I changed 4 rooms. 4 rooms. Because anywhere I went, I was like a plague. Everybody was just looking at me.
You're the dude who
snitch. And I'm like, bro, this is just one thing I told my mom. Like, and it was based on she pressured me. I couldn't stay in one place.
See, we need to debunk this idea of snitching. If you're terrible, I'm snitching. I'm sorry. If people can carry this whole "you're not cool, you're not for the streets." I'm not for the streets. Never will I be. I don't give a fuck. If you are someone who is acting in an appropriate manner that is causing harm towards people, I'm going to tell on you. I'm the nigga that will call the cops. I will call the cops on you. I will do what it takes. But I understand that there are repercussions to those things. Like in streets, there's a street way of being. You're their type shit, you know.
It's very loud.
But I think we also need to debunk how we think coming from the street is cool. Like we need to debunk how we think suffering is cool, or how we have a particular way of thinking. It's not cool. You don't get cool points for being a street nigga. You don't get cool points for having a particular code manner of being a terrible human being.
True.
You really don't, but understand. I understand what you mean. I understand that if you'd have kept quiet, you'd have gotten in trouble.
Exactly. Because from the moment, now, after that moment, I decided I was never reporting. Like, this is not a joke. I did not report once again throughout my life in school. And it grew worse, but because I knew what would happen if I talk, I just learned how to suck it up. Okay, it happened. It go finish. I know go die.
That's so
Do you understand? Like, it helps you see. I won't lie. Yes, it's traumatic. It's bad. It's all of that. But as a man, you go through so much in life, so much shit in life, that these experiences that you've had that might not really have any correlation that you think will be the one to help you push through those times. Because when you're in a very tight spot and you realize that any small mistake you make can be haywire. It takes you back to the times when in school you knew that, okay, you have to do everything right. If not, any small thing, they'll flog you.
They'll flog you.
It helps you, like, calculate your steps. It helps you look for alternate measures. If one doesn't work, plan B will work. If plan B doesn't work, plan C will work. Now, that is where I will bring in this snitching thing. Do you understand? Now, not as if we didn't find ways to pay these seniors back for what they were doing to us. Do you understand? We just knew we couldn't go to school. Do you get? Like, let me give you an example. There was this boy in my room I think in my GS3 or SS1. And he was the first bunk on your left, on your right entering the room. Now, just by the wall was the fan socket. Now, it was spoiled, so we had to, like, put wires together. So what we did was we hung a rope, like not a rope, like more like a wire from the main fan wire to his bunk.
Whoa!
What? When we see him just come back and just wants to sit down, someone just go and sit down on the fan, and it's already connected, so it will shock him. Like,
you know what? Cheers to that.
I can't lie. It will shock you. Like, and there are so many other things you could do. Do you understand? Like, there were so many other things you could do.
Yeah, so you guys were finding ways to pay them back. Yeah.
You
know
steal
what?
one leg of his shoe. Do you understand? Like, so when it's time to go to class, he can't go to class. Do you understand? Or you cut his clothes. Things like that. Like, there are so many other ways to, like, okay, I'll get you back. But not just snitching.
My other question is, did your experience make you want to hurt others?
Well, that's the thing.
Did you also get into no?
No. Now, not as if I was the guy that didn't touch anybody in school. I fucked some people up.
Yeah.
But you deserved it.
Okay.
That's the truth.
Okay.
I'm not that guy that will say, okay, because they beat me, I'll beat you. I wasn't one of those. There were so many of those in school, and it was mind blowing. Because they beat your sister beats me, I will beat you.
I will beat you. Yeah.
Help me explain that math. It doesn't make any sense. These are two individual people. Not because they come from the same house that they will be the same people.
Yeah.
Like, it was mind boggling, but well, it was a situation we found ourselves in. But it doesn't mean you have to pay back. I never paid mine forward. If I messed you up, you deserved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your relationship with trauma? Because this is trauma.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with it?
You see, this is where I become an abnormality. I really don't believe in trauma.
Really?
To be very honest. I think
so. With everything you've experienced, you don't carry it as something that has had a negative connotation on you in any way.
Anything negative that happens to you, there's always a positive to bring out of it, and that's the truth.
I don't like when niggas be this positive.
No, that's some shit happens. Do you understand? But if you decide to like meditate on the bad, you will never see the good, and
That's
you will never
fair.
leave that spot.
But it's important that we acknowledge the bad.
Yeah.
It's important that we.
That's why I'm here
you
talking
might
about
not,
it.
Yeah,
This
but you
acknowledgement.
might not know or see the ramifications of trauma or what you've gone through. But I feel like trauma also has a way of sneaking up on us, especially as adults.
Very true.
It might not show now. I don't hope that you start living a life of stuff like that.
No,
but,
I get you.
But there are ways that our experiences define us in our lives and how we live our lives and how we communicate, how we are in relation with people. And sometimes it might take somebody else to point something out for you because you might not be able to see it. But trauma has a way of affecting us and to be honest, starting this conversation, I spoke about how there's a lot of trauma that people go through in secondary school when it comes to bullying, whether it's physical, whether it's sexual assault, SA. And we see a lot of conversations around sexual assault lately, whether it's from Hollywood or just in general. There's a lot of times where children have moments where they are being taken advantage of from either teachers, from their students, their peers as well, or like from workers in school. And then you go through that, and then you're a young kid. Secondary school is your first experience with sex or anything sexual, and then you wonder how your adult life, you don't have a healthy sex life, or you don't know boundaries, you don't know how to control yourself, you don't have discipline. So there are ways that trauma can affect us in there, but we'll stay to.
In your talk about trauma, to be very honest, me not believing in trauma, that doesn't mean it hasn't affected me.
Yeah. Okay.
I've had certain traumas about certain things. Do you understand? I'm just talking about how you approach these certain things.
Yeah.
You have to come at it positively. You have to find like the good in it so you don't drown.
Yeah.
Do you understand? That is why I say I'm not a big believer of trauma.
Yeah.
I feel you can always swim out if you are if you're tenacious enough to want to leave that mess.
I hear that.
You will always be able to swim out of it.
So
when I hear about trauma, I try to dissuade people from having an excuse. Do you understand? Be like, I blame it on trauma. No. You could fix things. You could help yourself.
I like that. I like that saying. Did you ever feel the need for closure with your bullies? And where is your stance with them when it comes to forgiveness?
Oh my God. I want to mess them up back.
So, see trauma.
See
trauma. See the trauma I'm talking about.
I really want to mess them up back.
Come on.
What was that?
Yeah.
I didn't even offend you.
Yeah.
I'm still angry.
You're so angry. See, and it's fair, bro. It's fair. It's fair. People carry this level of anger for so long. See, I know people that are still fucked up from bullying from secondary school now that are married. In their marital homes, they are still angry about. And if they run into their bullies today, they won't have any kind of cordial. They will still remember that you treated me in a way that made me feel. And see, that is one thing that we need to understand as human beings, is that people never forget how you make them feel.
Very true.
People might forget about what you do. They might forget about your beauty, your class, or any of that. But how you make them feel, they would never forget how you make them feel. And people's experiences and feelings are so valid when it comes to their hurts and their trauma. How do you think classism plays a role with bullying? Because I feel like with Nigeria now, there are a lot of people that come from a certain social class that I don't think they dealt with bullying in secondary school because of, people knew their father had money or their father had power. Exactly. How do you think that played a role in secondary school? Yeah.
Look, let me give you two ends, from the bully and from the bullied.
Yeah, no.
Do you understand? Now, as the person, as the recipient of the bullying, social class helps a lot. When people find out that their dad is a rich man, a senator, this, that, it treats you different. Most definitely. Yeah. You have like 7 school fathers automatically just by telling them who your father is. Do you understand?
And you have teachers in school that want to protect you and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, as a senior student that can inflict the bullying, you are also protected.
Yeah.
Because anybody that wants to call you out is not going to go far because of who your father is. Do you understand? Like now, a junior student reports a senior boy that his father is Senate president.
And so there's no accountability for him because of...
Which teacher wants to talk to that boy? That you want to say, okay, I want to talk to your father. Nah, when they see your father, all they are trying to do is kiss ass and get the couple hundred of thousands that your father will give them. That's all it is.
I was talking to a friend of mine who has a terrible perspective about Hausa people. He went to, I think, Paysetters.
Okay.
And a lot of Hausa people that went to Paysetters. He said, and there were Hausa people that had a lot of money. Paysetters in Abuja. Yeah. This is the land of our people now. True. So a lot of the Hausa people in his class had a lot of money, but they were bullies, and there was no accountability.
Exactly.
They always got away with everything. He talked about how they made fun of him because of, like, his mom bought him some Gucci sliders and stuff like that, but it was fake. And the Hausa guys knew it was fake. And so they would call him into class, and they would them to walk around so all of them can see, and they'll be laughing.
We need to get this clear that kids are mean.
Oh, kids are mean.
Kids are mean.
Kids are mean.
So all these extra things, but kids on their own are mean. Yeah, you don't want a kid to hurt your feelings.
And it made him hate her. When he was like, Muzi, your house I should be. He was like, I don't like you, Bulo. And he explained to me why he didn't, and it was so sad, bro, and I had a lot of sympathy for him and stuff like that. But I was like, yeah, your experiences are valid, bro. It's valid that you now look at us a certain way because of your experiences. Yeah.
But you see now, this thing, doesn't just affect secondary school. This secondary school is your introduction to the world, as controlled as it can be. Do you understand? But that doesn't mean that the norms of the world won't be in school. The same way you see rich people go unchecked in so many things they do out here in the real world. Yeah. It's just a replica, just in a more controlled environment.
This is true. What advice would you give people on... You're not there yet. But let me the question I was gonna say, what advice do you give people on forgiveness and healing? But you have a few things to go through. But for me, let me talk to my listeners and to anyone who is being triggered by this, because I know a lot of people have a lot of triggers with this conversation. A lot of people are feeling like, yo, you guys are really speaking on things that are hurting me, things that I went through. My advice on what I have learned about healing and forgiveness is that healing is for you, forgiveness is for you. That when you forgive, it's actually not for the other person. You're forgiving to heal yourself. You're forgiving to let go, so you don't have any energy of negative things that are weighing you down. So for anyone who is listening to this, who is still in that place of so much anger and hurt. I am validating your anger. I am validating your frustration. I'm validating your hurt. But I also want you to live a life that is free of that, to understand that forgiveness is for you. And sometimes we don't always get closure.
True.
We don't always get to have that conversation with someone who has hurt us, who has taken advantage of us, who has, made us feel a type of way, less than who we are, taking advantage of our innocence. We don't get to get that closure all the time. But I do think that having self-love and knowing that forgiveness is for you, honestly. It's not for the other person, because it helps you let go and be free. But I validate your anger, and I validate your pain.
But to answer this your question, I'm kind of there. In as much as I really want to pay these people back.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've had so many encounters with so many of them over the years.
Yeah. And
it's more now I understand that you were just a kid then.
Yeah.
Do you understand? When I have a conversation with you for 5 minutes in this outside world, you don't have any power over me. I just understand that you were just a kid with too much power.
Yeah.
That's just what he was.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That helps you.
Anybody you give too much power will always abuse it. That's the truth. So you were just a kid with too much power.
Honestly.
And I just try to forget. Yeah. It's not as if I've not forgiven you because I need you to tell me sorry. Sorry. I need you to tell me sorry.
Yeah.
I've not forgiven you, but I've forgotten.
Have you? You've given us a very detailed experience. I think you've forgiven, but you have not forgotten.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think you probably have forgiven, but not forgotten. Yeah. And with that not forgetting, there's still hurt that you feel when you talk about it. And that, honestly, bro, that's okay.
Very true.
That's okay. That's very safe. True. That's very fair for you to feel that way. The very last part of this conversation, as we're wrapping up, talking about, trauma and healing, I feel like there are a lot of things that I would like to address when it comes to healing specifically, especially for those of us that are African. I feel like I want to just use this part of this episode to just dispel some things that I feel like we need to deconstruct in our thinking as Africans to be able to get some healing. I feel like there are some sayings that I need us to just really get over. So when you hear people say, do not disappoint your parents. We get that a lot. Do not disappoint your parents. Don't disappoint your parents. Don't disappoint your parents. From secondary school, they tell you do not disappoint your parents. I would like to say that I have told my parents that they shall be disappointed at some point. And not saying that disappointed, I'm going to do something to hurt them, but I want us to take charge of our lives and to choose the lives that we want for ourselves. If you're an individual who is always living to please your parents, you're never going to grow. If you're always living to do what your parents tell you to do, you're never going to build a life that is worthy of you.
That's very true.
So telling us that not to disappoint our parents, bro, there's going to be disappointment because you're not always going to do what they want you to do. And I'm not saying that you should be rebellious. Let us understand what I'm saying. It's not about rebelling, but it's about choosing a life that is authentic to yourself. So I think that is such a thing that I would like us to really dispel when we talk about don't disappoint me. I'm like, mom and dad, me choosing this because I want it for myself, because it's going to be pleasing to me and my life. If that's going to disappoint you, I'm sorry, but you're going to be disappointed. Yeah, do you understand? So there's that part of healing that I want us to go through as Africans, is that part. I think the other thing I want to talk about is, do not be a failure. And the thing that we hear, do not be a failure, we hear it from time. Don't be a failure with your academics. Don't be a failure with life. Don't be a failure with things. And that really affected me in secondary school because I wasn't very good when it came to the big subjects in school. I wasn't the best with the maths and the science. I really wasn't. That's just the truth. And me, I think I should be fuck you. Me, I should be with the fact that my teachers were trash. I attribute it to the fact that my teachers were fucking trash, bro. Because once I got to uni in America, I was so good with maths that my mom used to be surprised when I showed her my results. I was a straight A student with maths, and my mom was like, Moses, is this your maths results? I'm like, Mom, it is.
Do you really think this thing is a Nigerian and Abra thing? Do you know why?
No.
Same thing with you. I wasn't that bright in secondary school. I won't lie to you. Yeah, and that was one other thing, I'm so thankful about, was that my mom never got angry at me about my results.
Same
no
with my
time
mom.
did they beat me.
Same.
No time they tried to
Same.
like, you are doing bad, you are
Yeah.
grounded. No,
Same.
none of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like,
same.
what is wrong is always the question. Like, why are you not passing?
Yeah,
Things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It helped.
Yeah.
Because if I was going through my mom shouting at me at home and coming to school bullying as well, it's have been bad for me.
Yeah,
But that really
yeah.
helped balance things out.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And secondly, this whole when I was in secondary school too, I really know Sabi Mass. Bro. Like I don't go tell now how many times I write WAEC, but I write that more than once because of mass.
True. At least your parents didn't pay for somebody to write it for you. You know, that's good.
Exactly. So like the thing now is going to uni. Education became easy for me. Do you understand? Like I wasn't doing so much, but I was getting like maximum results, and it was weird to me because in secondary school I'll read,
Yeah,
and I'll still fail.
bro. I
But
think
out
we're
here,
all just reading to
I
like
wa-
pass at some
Exactly.
point. Nobody was
But out
reading
here,
to
I'm
learn.
reading and I'm not even doing as much as I was supposed to do. And I was really this one is not
Same.
just I just cross over.
Bro.
I'm passing, like proper
Same,
passing.
same. I wasn't reading as
crazy.
much as I did in uni when I did in secondary school, and I had better results.
Bro.
Way better. I graduated. For the people that studied abroad, I graduated cum laude. That's one of like the what you call it, the honors in
Okay.
year.
How do you guys?
I had a
do this thing?
3.5 GPA over
Okay.
4.
Over. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good. Though.
Yeah, it was very good.
I had a
Come on,
4.0
don't
over
play.
5.
Oh, that's good too. That's good too. That's good too.
Look at us.
Come on,
a couple
say how far.
unbright kids in secondary school.
Doing it big in uni. So yeah, that's one of those things. And the reason why I talk about that is that when we have disappointments or maybe our results are not good in particular things, you're not a failure. Like you might have failed at that particular thing, but you're not a failure.
Yeah.
You're not. And we get so, we our parents sometimes can be so hard on us when we have moments of failure. Do you understand? When we have moments where we didn't do the best that we could, or our efforts just didn't bring the best results, and then we pound on our children, I'm like, no, your kid is not a failure. They might have failed maths, but they're not a failure. They might be struggling with this, but it doesn't mean that their whole lives are going to depict that. The girl in my secondary school who used to fail like that, honestly, is one of the most successful people I know right now today. I'm like, no cap.
Just imagine that.
No cap. The girl that people used to dog or bully her because of how bad her results were in secondary school, today she is one of the most successful people I know.
But isn't that a question to ask? Sorry.
Yeah.
Isn't that a question to ask? To be very honest, me and you have said it. This is a third example you're giving.
Yeah.
Where like secondary school, you really don't do bright. Like you're not really that sharp. But from uni upward, like
people,
is
you
there
know,
is there
people's
a dent
brains,
in the secondary school
people's
system or
brains. No,
something?
there is a dent in the secondary school system. There is. In my secondary school, when we got there, they graded us by class A, B, C, and D.
Oh, based on
Yes,
you're the brightest,
based on
you're
your
bright,
brightest,
you're
you're in A class.
You're the dullest, you be in B.
And I was in D.
Bro, I was in B. Mine was
When
A,
I got
was
in, I
B.
was in D class. But imagine the level of, imagine how
Moses was in D.
bro, I was in D. You're so stupid. I can't even take him. I was in D, but hey, look at me now, nigga. I was in D class. I was from just one. I was in D class, and imagine how. Just imagine what that does to your self-esteem as a kid.
True.
You don't feel like you
From the
can.
get-go.
I didn't feel like I could blend or be friends with people in A class or B class because they always look at me like I was dull.
Very
Do
true.
you understand? And then we'll write exams during semester, and then based on that, there were some people that went from D straight to A safe. Some of my class went from D to A. I went to C. I went to C. And then when we now did our final exams and I was to move to B class, they now changed it. I was like, really?
So now
after
I'm
the
so
hard
sure
work,
myself,
after
like-
I've struggled, after I've done everything, they now fucking changed the system. And then there was nothing. And then there was a point in my school where they would call those who were last in class in front of the assembly.
Yeah. They did that in my school too.
if you were
Yeah,
last in
it's-
class or second to the last, they will
Yeah,
call
they
your
call
name
you
out
out. So it's
in front
public
of their
humiliation.
assembly. It's humiliation.
Yeah,
So
public
imagine
humiliation.
doing that to a kid. So yes, the secondary school system is fucked up in Nigeria. There's a lot that we think is normal, but it's not. We don't think about how that affects a child. So when I talk about the lady in my secondary school, it's always last and stuff like that. Our minds develop differently.
Very true.
People learn differently. People gravitate, and some people, they might not have even liked the class they were taking in secondary school.
Very,
Do you understand? You might be a creative, but you're in science class. You might be somebody who is more into business and entrepreneurship, but you're in art class. So these are the things that we don't understand, that a child learns differently, and things in your adult life can be so 360 compared to how your life was in secondary school. So these are parts of the conversation that I just wanted us to just touch on a bit as we're ending this episode, is that I want us to deconstruct our minds in the way we think when it comes to how we experience life as Africans, especially with the way we take care of our kids and we raise our kids. It's important that our children are raised in environments where they are allowed to fail, they're allowed to be themselves, they're allowed to grow, but there's also accountability for those that are acting outside of how they're supposed to act. So for anyone out there who has dealt with trauma, who is dealing with it, I wish you a lot of healing. I hope you maybe go to therapy about it, take to a counselor, find that self-love, and also understand that forgiveness is really for yourself, and take your time with it. You don't have to rush. When you're ready to really let go of stuff, you really know that you're there. Exactly. And hopefully life gives you everything that you deserve, which is beautiful and great. So bro, I thank you so much for joining. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate this was a good episode. It was very fun. So guys, thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Nice.